Welcome to the Staying Relevant podcast, the show where we explore career transitions, meaningful growth, and timeless lessons from high-performance professionals. I'm your host, Tom Swales, and today we're diving deep into the world of elite sport and beyond with a special guest whose journey embodies resilience, evolution, and purpose. Matt Beleskey is a former NHL forward with over a decade of professional hockey experience. Drafted in 2006 by the Anaheim Ducks out of the Ontario Hockey League, Matt went on to play nearly 500 NHL games with the Ducks, Boston Bruins, and New York Rangers. Known for his gritty style, blue-collar mentality, and leadership on and off the ice, he reached some of the highest moments in hockey, including a standout playoff run in 2015 where he scored 8 goals in 16 postseason games and earned a major free agent contract with Boston. But as many professional athletes discover, the end of playing career brings unique challenges, from rediscovering identity and purpose to building a new professional path. Today, Matt joins us to talk about riding the wave, the highs and lows of a pro career, mental and lifestyle shifts after sport, and how he's channeling his experience into coaching, mentoring young athletes, and helping others navigate their own transitions. Whether you're a clinician, coach, athlete, or professional in career pivots, this conversation offers lessons in mindset, adaptation, and intentional reinvention.
They're taking me 19th overall. What sticks you on everything? The 19 comes, they don't take you. And you're like, oh, okay, why'd they do that? Even in life now, I still get the same sayings I had my whole life from them. But like, how do you eat an elephant? Like one bite at a time. Like you can't look at an elephant and think you're gonna eat it if you don't take one bite, right? Like you have to like chip away at something. Yeah, I guess it kind of does. It comes full circle. Like the ride the wave. I remember we talked about it was in California. I started surfing.
Yep.
And it's one of the hardest things to do. Like you get humbled like crazy, and you got to work your ass off to get back out to catch the wave. You might not catch it, but when you do, you got to ride it. Hockey. But really, you're building yourself. You're creating what you want to be. You know, so enjoy the journey.
Gentlemen, Mr. Matt Beleskey. Thanks for coming, Matt.
How's it going, Tom?
Good. So growing up in Canada, working your way through the minor hockey league system, tell us how the environment shaped your goals growing up.
Well, I think growing up in Canada it's a special place, especially when you play hockey, because it kind of is the mecca of hockey, especially Ontario and the GTA area. It's probably the most popular thing around here. So everything revolved around it. Outdoor rinks, you got one in every corner. We have one in the backyard now. You know, your practice, everyone plays. You play at recess. It just seems kind of a bit of a way of life that you live. And for me, that's what it was. I don't remember missing out on anything else because I didn't think about anything else when I was younger. It was hockey. That's what I did, and I just got fortunate enough to have it work out for me.
Did that desire start early on in childhood? Was there anything else that you enjoyed doing, or was it, as far as you can remember, hockey's the thing I love to do, that's the thing I want to do the most?
I think I played everything. I wasn't a full season hockey player then. You know, I played lacrosse, played golf, played baseball. You know, I think now it seems to be you play all summer long before you might play one tournament or something as I got older. And as a kid, I even asked my dad, I don't remember being like, I'm going to play in the NHL or this is the only thing I'm going to do. It's what I wanted to do, but I never really, I don't think I can recall really putting any pressure on myself to be an NHL player as a young kid. It was just fun. All my friends played hockey. I came home from school. I shot pucks in the driveway for hours until they told me to come inside, and no one was telling me to get out there and do that. It's what I wanted to do.
I mean, it's rare that you see that now. How much different is it from, you know, when, again, I'm older than you and we were seasonal athletes. You just played everything. You rotated. There was no one sport all season long, and that's changed a lot. Where do you see it more prevalent now, especially in the hockey world, with pressuring? Like the kids almost feel pressurized that if I don't play hockey all year long, I'm not going to make the team next year. But, you know, and then the coaches are telling the parents that, and the parents feel pressure. Is that more Do you see that more now?
I think like my son Hunter now, he's 5. It's his first year of hockey. They play a ton. We don't even go to all of them because I think it can be too much at times. But I don't see the kids feeling the pressure. Like I think the kids are still having fun. They're 5. They're out there skating. They're not complaining to go on the ice or not wanting to go.
Yep.
But I don't know how long that lasts for when you start at 5 skating 4 times a week.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know how long that drive or when that drive really needs to kick in if it's still going to be there. Like, I don't know if you're 10 or 12 years old, if you're going to want to play, like how many more days, how much more practice can you do? Is there, you know, I feel other aspects of life are just as important to play other sports, to meet other people, to be in different circles. I think that will help you in life and in your career because you can't just be one-minded. And then if something wrong happens, how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's a very small chance to even make the NHL, not alone make a living doing it.
Yeah.
And to feel the pressure like you have to is just not fair, really.
Yeah. I mean, we know from just statistics and just watching athletes, the ones who go the furthest actually play multiple sports. They're a good overall athlete, and then they specialize later. And
I think as a kid, being the best 7-year-old hockey player is not going to make you the best 20-year-old hockey player. It's just simply not. It doesn't add up. And let alone wear and tear on your body, your hips aren't supposed to move when you skate like that. Like that's why everyone has hip surgeries if you've done it for a long time. Because your hips aren't technically supposed to be pushing like that all the time. So it's a give and take, right? You don't want to tell them, no, you can't skate. Obviously, you can go out and skate, but making it a regular 5-4 day plus a week, I think is not needed or beneficial really at a young age, I think.
Yeah. Well, then they need physio, right? Because of the overuse problems. And then they're doing dry land, which some doesn't always counteract it. It's with kids, it's just playing different sports to develop their bodies, their motor programs, their problem solving. Like you said, that will create a better overall foundation to specialize later. You know, we always talk about, you know, make the human athlete as good as possible and then create the specialized athlete later. You know, even when we were training, you'd come off season, what were we doing a lot of? Groundwork, balance work, core work, like all the things that get neglected, you know, from being on skates. And then after the first couple of weeks, once your body's kind of balanced out, then it's like, okay, well, now let's start to build your foundations of strength and a little bit of speed and agility. And then we add the power and then the sport specific stuff. Yeah. But the kids, it seems like they just don't get that. What, you know, let's go back to, you know, draft day, heading from the OHL to the NHL system. What are some of your key core memories that you have going from, you know, into the OHL and then all of a sudden realizing I'm going to go to the next level? Yeah. What are some of the things that really stood out to you?
I think when I was, like I said, I never really, like, I didn't plan like a route. I wasn't like, I got to do this so I can get drafted at a young age. That wasn't really on my mind. When I was 15, I ended up trying out for a junior A team, so I'd be an underage kid. I went as a walk-on in a summer camp and ended up making the team, and that kind of was the first time that, like, I was like, wow, I'm kind of doing something that other people aren't doing. I was the only 15-year-old on the team. There's maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 in the league that year or something. And that's your draft year. You're playing against guys that are 20 years old. And, you know, I was having success and ended up, my agent contacted me then that year. So things started kind of escalating. Then we're like, okay, well now this, like, maybe this is like, I'm on the right path, I guess. You know, we're going the right direction. And then getting drafted to Belleville, I ended up getting drafted in the second round, 21st, the first pick of the second round. And that was, you know, I thought that was just awesome. Like, I remember going down and signing with my grandpa and my dad came. Like, first time they're actually giving you hockey equipment and they're giving you sticks and everything. Like, it was just like, this is great. Like, as a kid in a candy shop, right? So
yeah. And you were 15.
I was 15, like turning 16, you get drafted.
I mean, there's such a huge, and you're playing with 21-year-olds. Like, you're playing with men. Like, that's But it
Yeah,
is, right? Like a
yeah,
16-year-old versus a 21-year-old, there's a big biological difference,
big gap. Yeah,
right? You're
definitely.
still growing up. They're now growing out.
Yeah.
And, how did you manage that? How did you find your way? How did you find your confidence in that league coming in so young?
I think I was kind of I wasn't a bigger kid like size height wise, but I was
Right.
always one like a bigger, stronger kid. And
Okay.
I actually played when I was 14. I played up an age group that year, and then the next year I went and played junior A, and then the next step was the OHL. So I found going and playing in junior A in Collingwood, I'd already played against guys that were older. There's bigger, there's stronger guys out there that. So I had kind of had a nice transition into the OHL. It wasn't going from playing guys all your age to top 20-year-old kids. So I think that kind of helped. I don't really know. It wasn't something that I thought of. I just
Did it?
went through. I was always an aggressive kid. Like I played lacrosse. I'd fought enough times. I took boxing and stuff, so I wasn't nervous of being taken advantage of. I think
Yeah.
at that age, and you're 16 and full of piss and vinegar, ready to go. So, I just I guess went in a little bit blind, and then, you get it handed to you once or twice. You got to start learning how to assess that. But, I think the funny part about that getting drafted, it's such a weird situation for a young kid looking back on it. The day of, you're just kind of going by the seat of your pants. I think when you're 15, you're in the draft. It was at home on the computer, so you didn't go anywhere. But like we had a team, St. Mike's came to the house and sat on the couch with my parents. Said they were taking me 19th overall. What sticks you on everything? Then 19 comes, they don't take you. And you're like, oh, okay, why'd they do that? And then London said they're going to take me at 20. They don't take me. So then you're sitting there going like, what is going on? And then you get a phone call from Belleville, who I never talked to. It was one of the teams I didn't talk to, and you get drafted, and everything's good. So it's like a bit of a roller coaster for a young kid, and then you're packing up and moving to a city you've never really been, living with a family you've never met, and away you go.
I mean, the teenage years are so vulnerable and so tumultuous to begin with, right? What do you wish someone at least told you to kind of mentally prepare for some of these, what ifs?
Um, I don't know. I just think I would like people not to, for a team to come and say they're going to pick you at 19 and come to your house and sit with your parents and tell me face to face, you didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
You could have said, we would like to have you, we're interested in picking you. Didn't have to come sway me. I had no choice where I went. Like I couldn't say no,
Yeah.
it's like, why, it's kind of like, why would you go through the struggle of doing that? But
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
it happened again in my career as well. Like when I free agency, they flew me to Montreal, and my wife the day before showed me all around town and the car service and all that, and didn't offer a contract the next day.
The process, it sounds like they're courting you almost like universities do, right? Because with universities, if you've got all these universities throwing scholarships at you, it's your choice, and then you choose where you go.
That one, free agency, made a little more because I could choose what.
Right.
But then to not even put not even a low offer on paper, just no offer. It's another thing. You're just like, why would you put me and my wife on a first class plane and drive us around town and show us everything and shake all the hands if you weren't even going to try? Like it's an interesting thing. I'd like to understand that process in that meeting where like, yeah, maybe they flew 25 guys out. I have no idea.
Right.
Like I don't know what their plan is or their idea of it is.
Yeah. I mean, looking back at your career, you had such a we're referencing this episode as riding the wave, right? You've had some highs and lows, and it seemed like it started early on. Maybe this is you, maybe it's unique, maybe it's not, maybe it's just the system. How did you stay mentally adaptive through those ups and downs through your career? Obviously, it started early on in the OHL. What was your mindset going through those highs and lows, and how did you overcome them?
My dad has always been he's my mentor for sure.
Yep.
Like he's helped me through everything. He didn't do it himself, but he gave me every opportunity, used every resource he had to give me the best opportunity. Simplified things with goal planning and looking at where you want to go, so it wasn't kind of just me trying to figure it out. As a kid, I didn't really, I think, realize how invested. Like, I knew he was invested. He coached us. He was driving me everywhere. Like, I knew that, but now looking back, I'm like, he was really doing a lot of work, research to
behind the
make
scenes.
it easier for me.
Yeah.
Which he did. Like, I kind of knew what was happening, and because he figured out how this road kind of can go. And then him just always, like, there's no point in being negative about things. It's kind of always been something that, it just doesn't benefit anything. So that's something I've always tried to keep in my head. Obviously, you slip off, you can slip into a negative, mode, but
Yeah.
when you look at it, you're not coming out of it by being more negative. You just can't. I don't know how to explain that. It's just not an option.
Well, you can't control what you can't control.
Yeah.
And there's no point in worrying about what you can't control and control what you can.
Yeah.
And it seems like your dad was very good at, well, this happened, but we're just going to keep moving forward, keep your head down, keep working, work on the things that you're told to continue to work on. Even when you came to me, when you were with Anaheim, you trained with me in my basement. You put a lot of trust in me. You and Steve came, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm training you guys out of my little 400 square foot basement. My clinic wasn't ready yet. And you made such great strides, and I was so excited to see. And then the lockout happens, right?
Yeah,
Again,
exactly, yeah.
We're having a great summer. Yeah, we're gonna have a great season with Anaheim. And then all of a sudden lockout. I was like, oh my God. And a lot of the athletes sat around and did nothing.
Yeah.
Tell everybody what you did and what made you decide to, go overseas.
Yeah, I think everyone was trying to, like, everyone's trying to figure it out, unless you were in the lockout before that, which, like, not many guys really were a part of it other than older guys. And I just looked at it, we were training, and that is great, but it's still not the same. Like, training with you, we always had a plan, and, you're going to a level, you're working up, and when you hit there and the next step is to go to training camp and start skating and practicing, and you can't. No one's at home in Barrie. I was skating, I think I skated with the Colts a couple times, but, like, that wasn't, that's just a practice with younger kids. Like, it's not the same as playing in games. So we just, once again, my dad and my agent were looking in Europe, and there's a couple options, and everyone was scattering to get over there because they wanted to play. So big name guys were signing in other spots, and opportunity came in England. Like, the money, I wasn't going there to make a bunch of money. I was, all right, you want me there? I'm going. And I think I flew out that, like, maybe, I don't even know if it was a week later, flew to England, and, which ended up being great. I played a ton, played center for a bit. I played almost 30 minutes a night, played on every power play. And then at Christmas, when that lockout ended, I was like, I've been playing more minutes than I'll play all year.
Yeah.
And it was the best decision by far for me to step in and be ready to go. Like,
Yeah, because that was your, even in a short season, that was your best season that you had.
Yeah, that was
That point.
Yeah, that was a contract year too as well.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's no time and a half season to start slow here. I need to be ready to go.
Yeah.
I think the first game, I got in 2 fights, and I was maybe a little too excited, but it definitely worked out for sure. That's when I signed my first, like, substantial contract, and then it kind of still went up, still rode the wave from there. But
it totally did. That's a situation where you can't control what you can't control. So what's another option? Well, sitting around and playing with younger kids, not going to do much. You need to be on the ice. You need to play full gas, full speed, lots of ice time. And thinking back to that's such a great example of your level of stoicism of, okay, well, now what? Rather than sit around and mope about it, which some of the athletes, talking with them, they just kind of hung out. Well, the money's not that good, and they're like, I'm just going to wait it out. Yeah, but you're getting rusty. You're not going to come in because the season's going to start with you, with or without you. There's no ramp up time.
And I think it started like, I would think maybe we had a week, and it was
You
like,
had a week.
here's your game. You're playing.
Yeah.
Like, it's on. So, it was definitely, and that gave me the confidence going into it. Like, there's nothing like playing a game. It doesn't matter how many practices, how many workouts you do. There's another level to playing a game. That's why you have exhibition. That's why you have scrimmages leading up. So without that, I couldn't imagine sitting there for 2 months and then being like, all right, I'm going to go play in the NHL now after. I wasn't that skilled to be able to do that type of thing.
Yeah, you can go to the gym, you can push a sled around, you can lift weights. It's not the sport. It's totally different.
Yeah.
The weight room stuff, it physically prepares you to a degree to make sure you're strong enough, but in order to get the conditioning, you need to do the sport.
Yeah.
Going out and playing soccer, you can sit there and swing a kettlebell, push a sled, do agility ladders, but until you got that ball on your foot, until you got that puck on your stick, you're going to be gassed because it's your nervous system and body is working a totally different way. What are some of the challenges that you didn't anticipate when moving, say, between clubs or leagues?
I guess I never, like in junior, I never was traded. I was in Belleville for 4 years, so I stayed with the same group, same city. Then, I went from there to Anaheim for my first camp. I think I played one exhibition game, ended up coming back to Belleville, so I got like a bit of a taste. And then my first year pro, we went there. I think I played a few exhibition games, and then they sent us to Iowa. Like, I've never been there. I drove with Bobby Ryan, another teammate from California, to Iowa. Like,
there's not much in Iowa, is there?
No, and like, first time living on my own, first apartment.
Yep.
I actually had two roommates, Brett Festerling, Bobby Ryan. They both got called up in like the first month, so I'm in like a 3-bedroom apartment by myself in Iowa. And honestly, as a 20-year-old kid, like it's fun. That it wasn't taxing to be moving. Like from there, the next year I played San Antonio and Toronto and Anaheim. Played in Syracuse, like Norfolk. Like I moved around. And when you're young, you're just kind of you're going. You're still just playing hockey. But it definitely later on it starts getting more taxing when you have family, houses, bills, and moving everything. That's when I found changing cities became much harder.
Yeah. How does an athlete maintain their identity through changing roles, changing cities, changing ice time, injuries? How does that affect the identity of an athlete? At least you in particular. Yeah,
I think for me, I've always been a bit of a utility guy. Like I could play hard on the fourth line and be effective as a forechecking, hard nose player, and then I could have the skill to score if you put me on that first line. But one of the biggest things I had to adapt to is not changing the way I play, because I remember in Anaheim I played on the fourth line, and then they put me on the first line with Getzlaff and Perry, and I'd immediately naturally start trying to play more offensive and kind of out of what they wanted from me. They wanted me forechecking, getting loose pucks and getting to the net and being the same player with those two guys creating space for them. And then, you have to just know your identity and be like, this is what I do. And that comes down to, once again, like through my dad with preparation, we would do goal setting on this wasn't a one immediate thing. This is a process over years of how to know what it took for me to play well, what I needed to do, simplified for me. I remember he looked at me, he's like, how much money would you want to make? Like, what type of contract? I'm like, $2 million. Would be awesome. He's like, well, if you score 20 goals or have 40 points, most of the contracts, you're going to make at least that much money. So what do you need that? There's 82 games. How many goals you need every 5 games? You need one goal or one assist every 5 or 4 games. And then you look at how many shots does it take to get a goal. So if I had 5 shots and if I had 5 hits every game, statistically it showed that I would be if I kept doing that, I would end up with that goal. And for me, that made it way easier. before a game, not like, oh, I haven't scored in 3 games, I got to score a goal, and I got to score a goal. It's like, okay, I got to get minimum 1 hit a period, a minimum 1 shot, and then I got to mix in a couple more. And then I can break it down to first shift of the game, I'm just going to try and hit someone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to try and get the puck on net. And for me, that simplifying made it way more obtainable than looking big picture.
That's so interesting because he showed you how to reverse engineer your goal,
Yeah.
and numbers, and breaking it down into just smaller, really, really small goals. One hit per shift. Yep, I can do that.
Yeah.
And rather than that big goal in the distance of, well, I need to, it would be nice to have this type of contract. Well, what does it take? What are the numbers to get there? Okay, that was a really interesting and smart way to do it, because everyone talks about goals, but and then breaking them down into smaller goals. This broke it down almost into into what do you need to do for this one shift, shift at a time.
It's so much easier. He always says, even in life now, I still get the same sayings I had my my whole life from him. But how do you eat an elephant? It's like 1 bite at a time. Like you can't look at an elephant and think you're gonna eat it if you don't take 1 bite, right? Like you have to chip away at something. So that, and he's got the five P's. I always joke with him is proper planning prevents poor performance. I think was another one of his.
Yep, that works.
His go-to things that I can't forget if I tried. So,
Joe's got some pearls of wisdom, eh?
Oh yeah, he does. He's getting more and more every day now too. He's got too much time, I think. But,
well, that's good. It's something that you can pass down to, into your next step in your journey, which I want to get to. But when did you know it was time to step away playing professionally? What did that transition feel like?
Yeah, it was it was a crazy time, but towards the end, like when I got traded I got hurt in Boston, we got a new coach. We didn't really see eye to eye. No. I probably wasn't holding up my end as well either, and I kind of spiraled down, and that one got down about it. Kind of wasn't looking at what do I have to do more, why am I not getting something, which you learn quickly that it never comes off well. And so I got traded to New York. I had a place in Boston, Providence, and Hartford at one point, and I was driving everywhere. And I think Victoria, my wife, one day, when I'd wake up, the first thing I'd say was I didn't feel like going to the rink. I was in almost one of those phases where that's not how it should be at all.
Yeah.
So that happened, and then I ended up coming back in Hartford. My last year, I had we were having a great year, had a good team, and I was really starting to enjoy playing again. I was in the best shape of my life.
Yeah,
it was good, and then it ended up COVID came, and we'd already had our daughter, and my contract was up. And, I just said, I'm not leaving my family to go not see them for however amount of time, I don't know, to see if I make a team or it just didn't seem like what I wanted. I wasn't into doing that. Didn't have the drive to go do that. And luckily I was, I'd done well and had that choice. And I just said, that's good. And that kind of stepped away.
I want to take a quick break from today's episode to share something I believe every rehab and performance professional should know about. For years, I saw too many clients go through the same cycle: short-term fixes, temporary relief, and then the same issues coming back again. That's why I built the Advanced Movement Therapist certification. It's not just another course. It's a system that helps you identify the real cause of a client's pain, give them results that actually last, and stand out in a crowded industry. You'll get practical tools and strategies that you can take straight into your sessions so you can help people get better faster. If you're ready to become the go-to clinician in your community, head to amtcertified.ca to learn more. That's amtcertified.ca. Your clients will thank you. Yeah. I mean, your dad has, he's such a huge influence and mentor in the hockey career, but he's, also an entrepreneur, right? He seemed like he instilled an entrepreneurial mindset of like looking into the future. How, what, uh, what did he help you on along that side of things as you transitioned out of hockey into more of, we're going to call it more adulthood?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had to learn how to pay my own bills and stuff. But no, he's still still to this day. Like it's been five, maybe almost 6 years now. And at first, I didn't really want to do anything. Like I not do nothing, but I didn't want to jump into something. I was kind of sitting back, and then he was always like, "What do you see? What do you want to do next? What do you?" And we started a beer company that I was fairly passionate about, and then kind of learned as you go that that wasn't going to work for me with a young family, and
Right.
you'd end up being a restaurant or bar owner, and
Ah,
the hours and if I'm going to do something, I like, as I learned from that, I was in it, and then when I wasn't, it's like there's no success possible if I don't really have the drive to do it. It just
well, because you're the face of you'd be the face of that company, right? Like
yeah. I
you
was
have to do
delivering
this.
the beer, I was
You
storing
got to do
it.
the sales. You got to talk to the restaurant owners. You got to talk to yeah, you're the face, right? Until a point until it takes off, but it's a lot of run up time,
Yeah,
and
it's something that you got to be passionate about, and you end up in that industry with beer. There's so much competition. You have to own your own brewery,
yeah,
which is a large investment, and then you have to take care of it, which I have no background in business, like running a restaurant or all that. Like it was a big thing that the partner and I we just he had his thing going on. We just kind of said it was fun, but and also it was during COVID when we were kind of trying to get it going, which was not ideal. But at the end of the day, I don't think if we had a restaurant right now, I'd want to be there every day. Anyways, so
well, you have your priorities are your family, right? You've always
yeah,
been a family guy. You prioritize that, which is what should be the primary, you know, priority for any of us. You discussed before how athletes often, you know, they come out of sport. You took some time off, which a lot of athletes do, figure out what you want to do. How was it for you scheduling your day, organizing, because teams handle so much, right? You went from I have this team to tell me where I'm going at what time, here's when we're eating, here's when we're training, here's when we're practicing, here's when we're napping, and working with different athletes from skiing and hockey and whatnot. When they retire, a lot of them struggle with
yeah.
that freedom, right?
Yeah.
Like that structure's gone.
Yeah, always
How?
because like my freedom when you're playing, your freedom is like it's an off day. You
Yeah,
do whatever you want. Like
yeah,
I don't have anything to do today. I can watch movies all day. I can go do you can do whatever you want,
yeah,
right? And then you're working again, and it's I like you said, you had your whole season laid out at the beginning of the year. You had a schedule of this is where I'll be. This is time. My travel was set up. My accommodations were set up. You have financial people that are handling that because you're busy playing hockey. So you're you have to be because you have to be that focused to perform at that level.
yeah.
But when you're done, scheduling still to this day is something that I struggle with, and not having like when I was training with you, if I couldn't I realized I was not good to take home the program and say I'll get up and work out tomorrow on my own. I had to know you were waiting there for me to get up, and some days you were waiting a little longer than you should be, but
That's okay.
that's
I
like
made you pay for it. It's fine. We still got the work in. You just
yeah,
had less
yeah,
time for recovery in between
yeah.
rounds. That's all.
Yeah, but that's definitely a transition that I'm still working on, and learning those life base kind of basic life skills that you learn at an earlier age
Yeah,
if you weren't doing that.
yeah. Sport, especially for as long as you've been doing it, it does what I've seen is it can keep an athlete into that not juvenile mindset, but having somebody oversee everything that you're doing and telling you what to do. And some athletes really struggle coming out of that, and they can get into trouble and with lots of free time, do self-destructive things. Aside from your family, and getting into the coaching and mentoring side of things, what made you lean into that more so, like working with young hockey players? How did that come about?
Well, I think after reflecting on it, after I finished playing, I obviously had some type of grudge against it because I didn't skate for like a year plus. I didn't really watch hockey, didn't really follow it, and then I slowly started getting back into it because I love the game. When I'm skating now, I play on Wednesdays. You're the same as when you're 10 years old. You're still playing hockey. You're having fun. So looking at that and then looking back on my career and being like, I could have used probably this. Like I could have had someone tell me, or someone that's been through a similar situation, it is a lot you're taking on. And I didn't realize personally, and I don't think a lot of people realize stress when you're in it, because that you're in it. And that's why I think it sneaks up on people. And also looking back, the ways I coped with it weren't always the best either. Like learning, like when things would get tough, you can start drinking more, you can go out more to just not think about what the other stuff, which is not a good, everyone knows it's not a good way to do it. And but it's easy to fall into without having people help you out and the skills and knowledge that this is something to just notice. So for me, mentoring players, I want to help them simplify their journey almost. Training now is so crazy with skating coaches and skills coaches, and you're driving here for workouts and you're going here and you're on the ice all this time. And I really want to help kids and parents, because parents are kind of guiding their kid through that. When you're a young 15-year-old, you're still don't have any money. They're paying all this money. You got to go see him. You got to go see him. They're trying to do the best by their kid.
For sure.
But
they don't know. Sorry.
The burnout, like when we were training, I would skate. I wouldn't even skate for a couple months, and then I'd start skating once a week. And same with our workouts. They'd start light. You always would test how your nervous system was doing and being more self-aware of how you were feeling instead of just head down, push through it.
Yeah.
Because I did that for years, and I'd have injuries. Like I'd pull my groin all the time in training camp because I'd be trying to get under this weight they wanted me to be, and working myself to the bone and not eating, over something that when you look at it now, I want it to be like, if you show up to camp and you're in the best shape and you perform the best, it does not matter if you're 205 or 215.
No, it doesn't.
If you're in the best shape and you've done it, your performance, your speed, your power is all higher. It does that number, and that it can get so specific through teams and organizations, and it's just the nature of the beast, I think. But helping kids just be able to realize this is how you treat your body. It's a full thing. Like you have your maintenance, your flexibility, your preparation, your warm up. The way you train it's very complex, and because of you, I've learned so much about my body, how it works. Even now, I can know when things are going wrong. But if your knee hurts, it's probably not your knee. Okay, don't sit there and ice and stretch your hamstring because your hamstring's sore. There's something else going on, and it takes a while to figure that out.
It does.
You don't have any education on that until you start playing.
Yeah,
really.
I mean. But you were always a smart athlete. You wanted to know the why. You wanted to know what worked best for you. And you got to a point after working, so many years, you came back, I think when you went over to New York, and you brought me the strength coaches program. And you're like, hey, what do you think of this? And I turned it back on you. I'm like, what do you think?
Yeah.
And you're looking at all the workouts and back squats and some of the things that just don't work for your body, and you're like, I think it's crap. I said, I agree.
Yeah.
And then I had you like, well, what would you replace this with? Because what movements work with your body. Because for you, for how I'm gonna pick on you. You're a stiff guy, which works for you because if you're giving hits, receiving hits, it actually gives you an advantage. Because you have that stiffness, you can lock down your body and transmit forces and accept forces a little bit more. Does it make you, more supple or allow you to move in the certain ranges? No, but that's okay. It worked with your style of hockey. But as soon as you tried to force certain movements, like back squatting with a bar on your back, and you don't have ankle mobility and thoracic extension, I was like, you're not a squatter, you're a deadlifter. But we can do lots of lunges and Bulgarian split squats. We can do single leg stuff. And that made you feel good, and that made you perform well. So it's also helpful that whoever, any of your athletes that are working, that they have somebody to teach them like you said, self-awareness of what's working for them and what's your output. When you do this, when you eat this, when you're at this weight, is it making you better? Is it making you worse? The nervous system is not, the body's not stupid. It will tell you, I like this feels safe, I'm going to take the brakes off. If it doesn't like something, puts the brakes on, makes things hurt. And trying to force square pegs into round holes, like what Boston was kind of doing, like, oh, you're too heavy. Yeah, but you perform your best at this weight. To try and drop you, you're going to get hurt, you're going to get sick, right? It's just, it doesn't work for your body type, which just seems silly to me.
It's an old school way of, like, the whole weight thing to me is like, I can't hold it in when someone says, well, he's got to lose 10 pounds. I'm like, why? Why? If someone explained to me why that 10 pounds will make him a better hockey player. And you can't. You could say he needs to be faster. Okay, well, show me what fast is, and let's see where he is, and then we'll get him faster.
Right.
And having an advocate, I think, like, for me, going back to the mentoring and training, like, I've put my time in enough that I feel confident to contact a team if I'm working with a player and say that to them for the kids, for the player, like, okay, what do you want from this player? Does he need to be quicker? Okay, where's quick? Show me what that means.
Right.
What is that? Is there a number that is quick? Is there a test? No. Is it situational? Maybe he needs to be better on his edges so he can carry speed more for quickness or something. Being able to analyze an individual player and not saying you got to come to camp at 196. And if you're overweight, you didn't train hard this summer. Like, I'd be 5% body fat at 196. And I'd tear that groin on the third day of training camp because I'm brittle and tight as hell trying to get there. And then you're back, then end of the day, that team, you've lost that player now for a couple of weeks and he's starting the season with an injury. Yeah. And, to be able to have someone look at that and be like, you know what, let's test them and see their performance, not numbers.
With your new, coaching mentorship, you're looking beyond the skills, you're looking beyond, you're looking for more supportive mentoring, contract guidance, real world, preparation.
Yeah. Mentoring more with the mindset is something that I think is the biggest, I think is a niche area that can be really utilized with players, especially when they're getting to that OHL level and moving up, how to start. If, like, it took me, I don't know, I think when we started working together, I'd already played 4 years pro. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of what year it was, but then the journey started I started really figuring it out and get, like, a guy like Andrew Cogliano, the way he took care of his body every day, rolling out, he had this system. So I'd start working with him. I mean, he had a physio routine he would use. He had people he'd fly in and I'd split with him or whatever. He's like, come use this guy. So it just, maintaining your body in the longevity is one of the hardest things to kind of realize. And you got to be able to look and be self-aware of your body of what it needs.
The 1 year, well, you've had a few summers where you came back, you had a phenomenal season, and you came back the leanest you've ever been, and you're already, like, lifting heavy right out of the gate, right? You made some lifestyle changes, which was very impressive. But I asked you, you had an injury-free season. I said, what did you do differently? And you're like, it was like 45 minutes of groundwork before you even got on the ice. You do your foam roller, you do your thoracic bridges, your crawling, your hip transitions, because you realized that was the thing that made you the fastest on the ice, the loosest. What made you, how did you get to that? How did you come to that realization? Because everyone would do their kind of own thing, but you did what you needed to do and you realized that?
Well, it was actually an injury that really kind of put it when I tore my groin, like in the playoffs. I can't remember what year against LA. Like I tore a big hole, and you saw it. There was a big hole in my groin, and once again, I'll give it to Cogs. He had a therapist in Toronto that usually that would be they would want to put the mesh in your lower abdominal, which they pretty much said you don't need. You can get PRP injections and work and stretching, and like a protocol, you'll not need to do that because most of the time it doesn't work that great anyways, putting stuff in you. So that kind of put me on, like that was a pretty serious injury to come back from, to make sure. And I'd had groin problems all the time.
Whole career.
So that kind of got me into the phase of like, I need to get this working. Because if your core and your groins aren't working, it doesn't matter how strong you are.
And your T-spine rotating so you don't rotate to the hip because you kept moving into the groin. Yeah.
It wasn't even the groin, it was all around. So then once I kind of figured out how that step by step started working and picking up stuff from other guys, different things they did for it, and just kind of started blending it together. And then once it started working, I'm like, well, I have to, if I don't do this, I already know I'm not at the level. Like I knew before a game, this had to be done just to get to the base. And then I'll see how, what else I got to tweak to see how I'm feeling. So that prep is your routine is huge, and being able to be consistently performing, I think. Being able to bring yourself to a base of ready to go.
That's that level of self-awareness that you developed over time, and, having something to check in with your body, paying attention to, oh, I feel good today. What did I do differently? It's like when people are trying to dial in their sleep, your sleep that night is determined by what you did during that day. Yeah. If you had too much caffeine too late, if you didn't get enough outside light, if you didn't get exercise, like that all affects your sleep. Is your room temperature the right temperature? Are you blocking out, certain light waves? Are you on your phone?
Like sleeping too long was something I would do, I got to rest up, get a big night's sleep, and then try and take a 2-hour nap before the game. And you wake up like, where am I? And then you got to turn everything on in the next 2 hours before you play a game. Like my naps at the end would be 45 minutes.
Yep.
I do a little stretching routine, watch some TV, try and sleep, get up, and shorten that, finding that nap time to where you feel good, not like, I know if it's over an hour, this is going to be like, I'm going to want to sleep for 3. Like, that's just how I work. But if it's 30 to an hour, I found that, and that's trial and error, I guess. But
so what, I want to transition over to some of the lessons. So looking back, some of the lessons you learned from your NHL career, how are you carrying those over into business and life now? And what ventures? So the beverage you have right now, we were talking earlier.
Tranquilo.
What lessons and takeaways are you utilizing from your NHL career into business now?
I think work ethic is never. Everyone needs to have it. I don't know anyone successful that doesn't have a work ethic.
Yeah,
like a good work ethic. So that's one thing, and then all the relationships I've made, and being able to look at all the situations you've been in and reflect, I guess, on yourself, on what works and what you liked and what seemed to be a good fit for you and what standards you have. That's one thing I'm really trying to do, is not step away from what I believe in or what I would want for me, So with training, you can have 50 kids on the ice at $50 an hour if you want, and people are coming, and lots of people do it, and business-wise, it's very successful. For me, I've trained with lots of people that it starts small, they get bigger, and then the product gets a little worse, or not worse, it's just diluted, and that's one thing that I want to be able to stay, like if I'm not getting what I want, then I don't really want to carry it on. It's hard, I'm finding, in business to find that in between, because it's not always the best business decision to be more like, I would use you as an example. If you could train a ton of hockey players, which you could, and create a program, but they're not getting access to you.
Right.
So it's not, I don't really know if people can replicate what you have, what you've learned, what you can give. And I think the same. I can't hire 5 people and expect them to have the same mindset of things because they didn't journey through all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of, you would know, it's a balancing act a little bit, but I think relationships and using the people, the good things you did and treating people well throughout my career, from media to staff, who now I can see, and things will come up where you contact them, and because you're doing those little things properly at a standard, then is now accessible to you.
Yeah, small things matter.
Yeah, so
yeah,
that's definitely one thing I think is probably the biggest that I'm trying to stick with, or that has helped through playing.
Where do you see your work going next? What are you building with your coaching, consulting? What other business ventures are you leaning into that you would like to share?
Well, obviously I haven't really launched anything, but Key Athletic Performance is what we're calling it. And,
okay.
And I use like the key to unlock your success, or unlock what you have. Okay. So, the little things of learning, being like a lot of it from you, and just being able to unlock what you have inside and what works for you, finding the key that makes you perform. So that's kind of what I'd like to do is, I'm not, skills-wise, I'm not going to be the skills coach that takes you out there and shows you how to do all the moves, but I'll watch your game, see what areas you need work on, or what are little things that you can work on that I've learned that in small areas per person can really benefit them. And it might be your prep before. What do you do before a game? What do you eat? How do you sleep? How do you train this summer? It's just such a big package, and I would really like to be able to help players go through that, with being able to call someone who's been through, I've done it wrong, I've found ways that did it right, I've been up, I've been down, I've played in every line in every league. So I have a lot of experience that I think I can pass on to players to help them in situations, and tools and people that I know that I can help resource them to.
Yeah, I mean, you really rode the wave,
yeah,
this career, and in my opinion, you came out really well on the opposite end, whether life lessons, financially, family wise, you're a family guy, your kids love you, your wife's still with you, like everything, like life is good, and you can have that. What's one final piece of advice for professionals in transition, or young athletes in a transition from, let's say, from juniors to OHL, or OHL to NHL? What's one piece of advice, or those kind of on the tail end of their career transitioning out?
Yeah, I guess it kind of does. It comes full circle. Like the ride the wave. I remember we talked about it. Was in California. I started surfing.
Yep.
And it's one of the hardest things to do. Like, you get humbled like crazy, and you got to work your ass off to get back out to catch the wave. You might not catch it, but when you do, you got to ride it right into the sand. Like, you got to ride the wave as long as you can, and then get back up and work hard to get back out there. And I think just hockey in life, it can seem like it's everything, and hockey, but really you're building yourself. You're creating what you want to be, so enjoy the journey. It doesn't last forever. I played 11 years pro, and I was retired at 32. That hopefully isn't even a third of my life, right? But the lessons I've learned in there, the fun I've had, the ups and downs, I wouldn't change any of them. Like, the one thing I would want is to enjoy and really take it in more while you're doing it, because it's the best. When you're an athlete, it's awesome. And when you're done, it doesn't have to be not awesome. You still did it. You just got to appreciate it. But I'm still learning. I'm still in that transition of, finding what's really going to, you're so competitive and you work so hard at something to be at the top. It's hard not to kind of chase that feeling still. Right. But you have to switch lanes, and, maybe it's not, you're never probably going to play in front of 20,000 people cheering. You're not going to get that high, but you can get it somewhere else. You just got to try and stay positive and enjoy that ride.
That's awesome. Well, Matt, I appreciate you. I appreciate our friendship. I appreciate, having the privilege to work with you for so many years in your career, and still, be a part of things. Where can people find you?
Key Athletic Performance is that's on Instagram, or I don't even know my own Instagram handle, to be honest. But look me up. Find me on the interweb somewhere. But yeah, reach out. I'm accessible. I'm love to help. I do want to say I appreciate you too. You did a ton for me, bud.
Awesome. All right, my friend. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Staying Relevant. If you enjoyed it, check out the AMT certification at amtcertified.ca, where we help clinicians and coaches get better results faster. Don't forget to subscribe for more episodes and share this with a coach, clinician, or athlete who needs to hear it. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep staying relevant.